Hey there, it's Dave with Flipperforce, and I'm excited to share that we just launched new improvements to our accounting dashboard that provides improved and more focused financial reporting for your budgets and expenses on all of your active projects, your completed projects, and your long-term holdings. So to access our newly revamped accounting dashboard, you can just click on the Dashboards drop-down menu along the top nav bar, and you'll find the accounting dashboard here organized under the By Feature column. So let's start with the basics here. The accounting dashboard, this is your overall dashboard view that shows the budgets and expenses of every single active project and completed project that you have in your workspace, so you can review all of your budgets versus actuals of your active projects that you're actively working on, and you can see the final profit results of your successfully completed projects in your portfolio. All the data that you see in these tables, they're populated from the project budgeter and expense tracker tools from each specific project. And then it's consolidated into this accounting dashboard so you can easily review your financials for all of your projects in one view. So the accounting dashboard has three different tables that are broken down by the stage of the project. You have the active projects table, the completed sold table, and then your long-term holdings table or rental holdings table. The active projects table, it shows you the projects that you are actively working on that are in the active project stage that you are renovating and constructing currently. The active projects view, it focuses on comparing your budgets versus your actuals, so that way you and your team can compare your initial budget that you put together and then compare that to your actuals and then use that to forecast your budget overages of your ongoing projects that you're currently working on. So on the left-hand side of the active projects table, you'll see we start with the general info about the project, just like your general stuff like your name, your stage, and status. Then the next section is going to be the cost budget versus actual section. So this is going to compare your budget to your actuals, so you can see a high-level comparison of your budget and what you've spent to date, and then forecast your overages for that project. So the all-in cost budget, this is the total budget for all the project costs that you initially set up for the project in your initial analysis and estimate. So the all-in cost budget, this is the amount that you've budgeted for everything on the project. This includes your purchase amount, your buying, holding, and selling costs, and then the renovation costs from the budget column there on your project budgeter tool. And then the spent to date column, this shows you how much you've spent to date for each project. And this is the total amount that you've spent and that you've tracked in the expense tracker tool. The projected cost column, this shows you the forecasted costs and forecasted budget overages and underages, so that way you can see which projects are on budget or over budget and which ones you need to focus on to get them back within budget for your team. The next section is the profit budget versus actuals. So the previous section we compared the cost budget versus actuals. Now we're comparing the profit budget versus actuals, which compares your budgeted profit of how much you originally were thinking the profit was in the deal, and you're going to compare that to your forecasted profit so you can see how your budget overages are impacting the profitability on the deal. So for example, on this deal, you can see on this project we were currently $25,000 over budget, and then over here on the budget column you can see that's basically going to have a negative $25,000 impact on our profit. So that's the active project dashboard. Again, it focuses on comparing your budgets and your actuals of all of the active projects that you're currently working on. But let's look at the completed sold table. And this completed sold table, it's going to show you the completed financials of all of your successfully completed projects. So the projects that show up on this table, these are the projects that are in the completed sold stage. And so because these projects are completed, this table is focusing more so on highlighting the final numbers, like your final income, your final expenses, and final profit of your completed projects. So that way you can see the final financials of all of your completed projects in one overall view here. So the total income here that you see in the column here for total income is from the income tracker. And then you'll see the purchase expense, construction expenses, fixed expenses, and total expenses, all of those expense columns, those all feed from the expense tracker tool. And then the final profit here, this column is calculated based upon taking that income that you have in that income column and subtracting out the total expenses to calculate your profit. So one thing that you can do on all of our tables is you have the ability to export to a CSV spreadsheet, or you can copy the data to your clipboard, so that way you can run your own custom reports and calculations in whatever spreadsheet software you like using. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste some of this data out of our table here, and I'm going to click this copy button, and then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it into Google Sheets. So what's nice about that is now that I've got it into Google Sheets, I can run some custom calculations, put some filters on here. For example, maybe if you wanted to filter your data to show all of the projects that you've completed in the year 2023, you could filter by the year 2023 here and see how much profit you made in 2023. So this will be helpful for you if you're really wanting to run custom reports. Go ahead and use that export functionality to export the data. Then you can get it into a spreadsheet software system and you can run your own calculation. All right, so let's show you the final table, which is the rental holdings table, which shows you any property that is in the rental holding stage. So the rental holdings table, this is going to be similar to that completed sold table, and it focuses on the costs that it took to stabilize the property. So this table is going to be beneficial to you if you are a BRRRR investor or a long-term investor that has some BRRRR projects or long-term rentals in your portfolio. This table is going to show you what your cost basis is in your project. So it's going to tell you how much it costs for you to purchase the property, how much it costs for you to rehab and stabilize the property to get it into service as a rental. So eventually down the road, we might add some additional data points here for tracking cash flow and operating expenses, so that way you can see how much cash flow your property is generating over time. So we hope you love these new improvements to our new accounting dashboard. If you have any additional data points that you think would be valuable for you to include in this table, please reach out and let us know.